الحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا يوافي نعمه ويكافئ مزيدا والصلاة والسلام على خير الأنام وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. إننا وإنا نتعلم والتعليم والتذكر والتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والدعاء إلى الهدى والدلالة على الخير والحث والتمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسول الله ابتغاء مرضات الله وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى. Praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we gratify Him with praise and a gratification that's worthy of a beneficent bestower of bounties and favours, the sovereign, the almighty, the powerful creator and controller of all that's in the universe. And we ask our Lord Most High and Exalted to send copious and unlimited blessings and salutations upon our beloved Prophet Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wasallam, amma ba'd. And we pay our respects we acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, and we pay our respects to their elders past and present. And inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the relevance of this thing called the fiqh al-waqi'. Fiqh al-waqi' is like, fiqh is the rulings, the jurisprudence, the law of Islam. And it means understanding. And there's the other thing called fiqh al-waqi', the understanding of the times in which we live. And you know, the dirty word of jihad has been tainted by these extreme people. They're deviant. They're not extreme. These deviant Muslims that are claiming that they understand, or they're practicing Islam. They're practicing the way of the Prophet of Allah ﷺ. They're implementing the Book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a way that all the rest of us Muslims are doing incorrectly. And for us, the difficulty with that presents, other than the bad publicity and that goes along with it, the Islamophobia, sometimes the threats to our person or to our health or to our psychological state, which is bad enough in and of itself, that we become complacent. Because even us as Muslims, because of the weight of negative publicity and even, you might say, propaganda towards that term and towards anything to do with that term, it has made us abandon it, really. And once we abandon jihad, and I don't mean warfare, I mean the real meaning of the word, which is to fight and to struggle and to strive in life, in this dunya, in the state that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put us in. It's not supposed to be comfortable, and it's not supposed to be easy in that sense. In Allah yuridu bikum al-yusr. Not easy meaning a journey that's not bumpy, right? That's what I mean by easy. It is easy when a person's with Allah, but when a person isn't with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, well, we have issues and problems and whatever, and it continues. So we've lost that concept, because what we're after, generally speaking, is luxury and ease and comfort. And ease meaning lack of any tribulation, lack of any difficulty, lack of any negativity, lack of anything that slows us down in accordance with our own expectations of ourselves and the world around us. And that's not normal to think that way. How can a human being think that just because they believe in Allah? That's what happened to the Bani Israel. They said, we're the chosen people. They said, and then the Christians came and said, all our sins are forgiven because Jesus died on the cross. That's not an al-Haddad way to go through life. Neither of the two. And we fall into both those traps. Alhamdulillah, Musliman, that's it, I'm going Jannah. No matter what happens, I'm going Jannah. And then we say, we're the ummah of the Prophet Muhammad, that's it. We're fine. So it's not exactly the same, but it's a similar methodology or the similar philosophy about the life of this world in which we lead. And further to that is the society that we're involved in. We always talk about that. The commercialism, the capitalism, the materialism, the success is only defined by monetary value, and that's even making it even more difficult for us to see the reality of the life of this world. Fiqh al-waqi'. Because if we don't see the reality of the life of this world, we can't see the reality of Allah Azza wa Jal. We can't see the reality of the next world. We can't see the reality of the Prophet of Allah ﷺ. We can't see the reality of the Book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We can't see the reality of the Deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We can't see the reality of the fasad and the kufr. We can't see the reality of the disbelief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the falsehoods that are out there that deviate a person physically, mentally and spiritually. Can't see that reality. to whatever extent that reality might reach for any person, but some form of that reality. And a person who cannot see the reality of something can neither get away from it nor can they achieve it. A person who can't see the reality of something, the thing that's negative, they can't evade it because they don't know what it is. They think it's good, for example. And the people that can't see the reality of something good can't achieve it because they see it as other than good. So, when A'udhu Billah Azza wa Jal, khusranun mubin, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, an absolute or an abject loss, destitution is probably the better word. An absolute destitution, just completely, they've got nothing in this world, when A'udhu Billah, and nothing in the next world. Nothing in this world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them something, even that verse says, just give them a little bit here, but they've got nothing in the hereafter. And so, the believer, the seeker, the one who strives, the one who's in jihad, is constantly looking for the favour of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in any circumstance, situation. In any circumstance and situation, they're looking for Allah. What is Allah telling me with this? Fiqh al-waqi'. What's the understanding Allah wants me to get out of this situation? And if we're able to overcome our own base desires, and if we're able to overcome our own expectations about ourselves and others in the world around us, and if we're able to give ourselves over to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and give our way of life over to the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, we'll understand what Allah, the meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has for us in the circumstance in which we're in. And that only comes when a person is dedicated to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and when a person is in the state of jihad against the negativity that comes from within and the negativity that comes from around. While a person's just nonchalant, she'll be right, no worries, then how can they differentiate? How can they chase the good and how can they enjoin the good and dissuade the evil, so to speak? How can they achieve what's good and beneficial for themselves if they don't understand it? It's impossible. How can they evade that which is detrimental to oneself if they don't understand? It's not going to happen. So we have to try and work ourselves into that state and frame of mind. Spiritual state and that frame of mind. And the opening of the door of that, in terms of the life we lead, is to understand how to use this life, how to use the things in this world for the next world. What the qadar, what the status of this world is in relation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to achieve individually, not just as a collective. Individually, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want from me? What does He want me to achieve in whatever circumstance and situation I'm in? And when we start to work to that, then those realities start to become clear. Those realities start to manifest for us. And that little reality that we get is a stepping stone to the next bigger, greater opening, greater understanding, greater comprehension, greater consciousness. Yet, if we're just going around not knowing, thinking that we know, which is even worse than not knowing, then we won't even find the first step. And as you know, when you're in the dark looking for steps, the first step that you find is the gateway to all the steps. Once you find, you want to wear this? The first step that you find when you're lost in the dark, that's it. You're saved. Yeah. So when you can't find the steps, it's scary. When you can't find the steps, however you want to call them, whatever you want to call them, it's scary. You don't know. You're unsure. What's going to happen? Am I going to fall? Is there a hole there? Is there something going to bite me? Is there something? What's going on there? But as soon as you find the first step, you feel relaxed. You feel comfortable because you know there's one step and there's another step and there's another step and then another step, however many there may or may not be. But there's that sense of comfort, and then one might reach for the railing, and that's it. Once the hand hits, it's all over. And lillah al-mathal al-a'la, the example of Allah is transcendent to that. Yet for us, that's how easy it is. That's how easy it is. Once we rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala into that state where it's not just what we read in the book, it's not just the notes that we took, and it's not just what we discussed with our friends, and it's not just what we learn in class, but it's my practical application of what I understand of the deen. Be it right or wrong, mind you. Be it right or wrong, mind you. Even if the understanding is wrong and you apply it, you will know it's wrong. And then the right is easy. Even if it's wrong. Once you do it and you work out that it's wrong, then you ask, well, I did this, it was wrong. Either you work it out yourself, Allah will help you because you did it for Allah, the intention was right, or someone will guide you. Allah will send someone, or you can find someone to guide you. So that fear of not trying, that fear of failure, that fear that I'm not good enough, the fear that Allah didn't choose me, that fear that Allah's got this is not going to happen to me, Allah's going to pick someone. We have to get rid of that. They say ta'arrad. In other words, expose yourself. Expose yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah, no, you don't want to expose yourself to your friends, not physically or emotionally. Nobody wants to do that. Some people got sick, they want to do that, but normal people don't want to do that, for use of a better word. Right? And we're scared that if we let our emotions out, someone's going to hurt our feelings, and we're sensitive and all the other things. Yet with Allah, He's the wali subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-wali and al-wali, both, subhanahu wa ta'ala. He yatawalla amur al-mu'mineen. He takes control of the affairs of the believers. What are we worried about? What's stopping us? And first and foremost is our connection to the dunya. When a person, how can a person be connected to the dunya and then get to that stage of Allah? It's not going to happen. So Imam al-Haddad, as he goes on, he says, as we continue more specifically, قال المؤلف رحمه الله رضي الله عنه وعنكم نفعنا به وبكم واعلم أن الزهد في الدنيا لأهله نعيم عاجل ولا يستطيعه إلا من شرح الله صدره بإشراق أنوار المعرفة واليقين. قال صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم إن النور إذا دخل القلب انشرح له وانفسح. قيل فهل لذلك من علامات يا رسول الله؟ He said عليه الصلاة والسلام نعم التجافي عن دار الغرور والإنابة إلى الدار الخلود. So he says, know that to renown 117 on the old book, and what page on the new one? 124 on the new one, and 117 on the one that looks like that. It says, know that to renounce the world is an immediate felicity, and that only those whose breast God has opened up by the dawning of the lights of gnosis and certainty are capable of it. The Prophet ﷺ has said, when light enters the heart, it opens up and is enlarged. The companion said, is there any sign for that, Ya Rasulullah? He replied, ﷺ, yes, to shun the abode of illusion, which is better than delusion, I suppose, and attend to the abode of immortality. And he said, well, we better continue there in the Arabic first. وقال صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم الزهادة في الدنيا تريح القلب والبدن والرغبة في الدنيا تكثر الهم والحزن. So that renouncing the world relieves the heart and the body, while desire for the world increases worry and sorrow. And he also said عليه الصلاة والسلام وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام ازهد في الدنيا يحبك الله ازهد فيما عند الناس يحبك الناس. He said, renounce the world and go. Didn't we read this last week? Did we go through it as well and explain it? We just read it, eh? We didn't explain it. We explained it as well? Where were you half an hour ago?
I interrupted in the dark and stayed quiet.
So we did go through that and we did explain it?
No, we didn't.
اختلاف الرواية.
No, we didn't do this part.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought we did. We read it, but we didn't explain it, Mahak. Hamoud, what have you got? The better part of valor. Alright. Allahumma salli wa sallam ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Like that, in my view, that first sentence, it sums it up. It says, Inna zuhda fi dunya li alam anna inna zuhda wa anna zuhda fi dunya li ahlihi na'imun ajil. It says, know that to renounce the world, for those who can do it, li ahlihi, for those who are of the capacity to say, nah, that's it. I'm going to use the dunya, I'm not going to abuse the dunya. Right? It's an immediate.
Sheikh, we went through it.
Are you sure? What did we say? Tell me. Tell us then.
We said that we went through inclination. I think that's what we started off. Yeah. We said inclination, not just worldly things, right? So do you have a status for yourself, in your own mind and own heart, or are you staring at someone who bumps you in the mosque accidentally? So we're talking about the people who, in China, that they just bump into people. And so you think that your car needs a certain status, you get consumed by dunya, and you got to sacrifice in the dunya to get to the akhirah instead. And then you mentioned the example, you're in the transit lounge in the airport, so renounce everything. You
missed it. We actually covered that when we in the Muraja.
That's right.
So we did that in the Muraja. Yeah, that's right.
And the sign of sanctity, so we talked about Allah gives a person with a job to do, and Allah will support him to do that job. Sorry.
That's what, Fadl, keep going. Because it wasn't the best Muraja anyway, so it's good to hear it again.
And then Allah defined that, God the Exalted defined the world as being but a distraction, so did we discuss that? Yeah,
we said deceit, but I think illusion is a better word. That it is deceiving, but the deception in it is the illusion, like the mirage, the proverbial mirage you see in the desert. No.
So we mentioned two metaphors. So it's like a hidden contract that there's deception in it, and we're using this dunya, but instead it's deceiving us. And we discussed the fact that lighting wood, making a fire, is in of itself a deceit. And we did tafsir of Ibrahim alayhi salam, that once he was dropped in the fire for 40 days, there was no heat across the entire planet, some scholars said. And then we said something about the toys of girls.
Yep, that's it. That's good, it's good, mashallah. It's perfect, jazakallahu khairan. No, that's alright. Jazakallahu khairan. I mean, that's, if we can get, those sort of meanings out of what Imam Haddad is saying, and it's not important that you get everything. It's important that you get from what's said that which helps you understand what Imam al-Haddad is talking about, and the Prophet of Allah and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because that's what's important. Whatever way it is, whichever how it may be, you might take, they used to do shorthand. I don't know, do they do that now? They teach shorthand anymore? They just record it, When they used to have a meeting, there used to be a secretary, her job was to take shorthand, so they'd use these symbols that would represent words, and they could take contemporary notes, so to speak. So as everyone's now, they just record, like you're saying. So whatever way it is that you understand it, if you have to draw things, if you have to do graphs, if you have to, record it and listen to it, if you have to read it 5 times and write it in your own words, whatever it might be, but you need to own it. It needs to be your knowledge. Imam Haddad's giving it so you can take it. So it's not that, in the book, that's what happened. It's in my life, this is what I understand. I understood from Imam al-Haddad this, and that. And that's why when we come back to the Muraja, that like we said, if you didn't understand, there's no worries. In the Muraja, you can ask. So, this is what I understood. Otherwise, you don't get the full benefit. Jazakumullah khairan. So, he says, وَاعْلَمْ أَنَّ الزُّهْدَ فِي الدُّنْيَا لِأَهْلِهِ نَعِيمٌ. Isn't that what we're trying to get out of the dunya? Aren't we trying to get the bounties of the dunya? Aren't we trying to get the money, the women, the men, the status, the food, the houses, the whatever else, the clothes, the fame, the popularity, the acceptance? Isn't that what people are trying to get? Or not? Am I incorrect? Are you guys here? Or is it just me talking to myself?
Chasing the dream.
Right? Which is what? Right? What is it? It's all those things, or is it, am I right or wrong?
100% correct.
It's correct? Alhamdulillah, thanks. Right? So, we're looking for that fulfillment. Right? It's about that fulfillment. We believe, some people believe, that by chasing these things, by people calling me Shaykh, by people calling me Mr., Doctor, Professor, whatever, uncle, auntie, whatever it might be, that I've achieved something. I'm fulfilled as a human being, as a makhluk. Yeah? Or what's Imam al-Haddad saying is, don't worry about all that stuff. Saying, you want that feeling? You want to have that status? You want to feel good? He says, zuhd fi dunya. Renounce the world. And you'll get it all. All the things. That's why people can't get it. That's why we can't understand it. Because the people of the dunya, look at the darawish and the tayyibin, like the darawish, the people that are sold, they don't care. They wear their clothes stink and, and they're just not with it. So the way we see it. Right? They look at him and say, this guy's lost it. Yet those people, they're the most content people. They're the most happy people. Whatever comes, they eat. Doesn't come, they don't eat. Whatever clothes they get, they wear. They wash that. We can't see that though. We're thinking, wait a minute. Who wants to live like that person? They don't have anything. Yeah, outwardly they may not, but inwardly they're content. Inwardly they have all the bounties combined. Some people might have money and not have time. Some people might have money and not have leisure. Some people might have looks and not have money. Some people might have strength and not have intelligence. Some people might have spirituality and not strength. They're missing. But the person who renounces them all has the contentment of the combined sum of all that people seek from the earth. People seek from materialism. People seek from commercialism. It's difficult for people to handle. Why? Because they've been focused. Wait, I've been doing this for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. The whole society's doing it. Everyone's doing it. Isn't that what they tell you on TV when they want to sell? 9 out of 10 people say that peppermint toothpaste cleans better than raspberry toothpaste, whatever it is. That's what they tell you. They want to convince you of it. And that's what everyone's trying to do. What the whole society, community, worldwide, moving to capitalism and materialism, telling you, no, don't worry about spiritual. What's that? What's it going to get you? What are you going to get out of it? And then Imam al-Haddad comes along and he said, you'll get contentment. You'll get what everyone else seeks in the individual pursuit of materialism. You'll get the combined sum and total of those just by that. A pretty good deal if you ask me. He says, وَلَا يَسْتَطِيعَهُ إِلَّا مَنْ شَرَحَ اللَّهُ صَدْرَهُ بِإِشْرَاقِ أَنْوَارِ الْمَعْرِفَةِ وَالْيَقِينِ. He said, and that only makes sense, the next part. He says, only those whose breasts God has opened up by the dawning of the lights of gnosis and certainty are capable. It's not for anyone. There's got to be something. Just like if you want to get rich, what do you got to do if you want to get rich? Work hard, is that all? In India, it's true, but in India, how many hours do the farmers work in rural India? Pakistan. 15, 16. When the sun comes up until the sun comes down, no matter how long that is. Are they rich? You've got to do more than that, but that's what you've got to do. You've got to work hard. What else? Hey? I don't know if those guys, they end up shot or in jail. But yeah, you probably got to break the law, right? Probably got to break the law. What else you got to do to make big money? Sacrifice what?
Comfort.
What's everything? Tell us. Break it down. Hey, time, family,
yourself.
Right? Yourself, health, right? What else?
Stingy.
You got to be, stinginess helps if you don't,
From money.
You've got to have a lot of money in the first place to make it.
Your integrity.
You lose your morals, right? You stand for nothing in the end except money. That's the sacrifice that people have to make. And a person who's in that state, how do they feel about themselves? Where is it, right? Where is it? Where's that fulfillment? And how can you tell they're not fulfilled? How? They want more. The guy's a multi-billionaire, wants more, not happy. Or the person's a super wealthy person and they want to change the laws to pay people less so they can make more money. What? Where's the fulfillment? Where's the fulfillment? It's not there. So he says that only the people who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed them to understand anwar, what does he say? Anwar al-ma'rifah. In other words, the understanding of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is what we're talking about. Well, you've got to own it. It's got to be yours. It's got to be something you have. It's got to be something that you embody, that you have access to. You don't have to open your book or your computer or whatever, or download it again and watch it. You've got to own it. If you don't own it, you can't have it from Allah Azza wa Jal. But here in this world, you can rent it, you can lease it, you can borrow it, you can whatever, hire purchase, you can whatever, sell your soul for it if you have to. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says that إِنَّ النُّورَ إِذَا دَخَلَ الْقَلْبَ انشَرَحَ لَهُ وَانْفَصَحَ. That when the nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says that nur, in essence that's one of the names of Allah Azza wa Jal, an-nur, when the light of understanding, of comprehension of Allah Azza wa Jal, of comprehension of self, of comprehension of the even the comprehension of the reality of this world. Even the comprehension of the reality of this world, the nur of understanding the reality of this world will take one to Allah, look at this world and they'll go, what? What's here? Pebbles. This is made out of pebbles. That's what I'm fighting for. That's what I'm working for. The best car in the whole world, whatever, the most expensive car, Bentley or whatever it is, Bugatti, what is it? Most expensive car? Rolls-Royce, okay. What's it made from?
Scraps.
What's it made from? Steel? Right? Where does steel come from? The earth. The earth, right? All comes from the earth. What's this big thing? The finest of all silks, most expensive thing. Where does it come from? Comes from the bumhole of a worm. What about honey? That's $600 a kilo, the best honey. Where does it come from? Same. The backside of what? A bee, and we love it. What about the freshest milk? Freshest of milk. Where does it come from? The udder of a pretty nasty. Look what else comes out. You know what I mean? So even the meat we eat, what is it? Dead flesh of an animal that once used to roam the earth. That's the reality. So when someone sees that reality, they realize, which is the negation, which is la ilaha. They come to the realization of la ilaha. They negate all these things around them. They can't accept them as ilah. They can't accept them as Lord. They can't accept them as the most important thing on earth. And they go to Allah. So they have to realize there's Allah there, and they look for that. So the Prophet said the person who gets that nur, in sharaha, the heart expands. And what does he say in English? He says, opens up and is enlarged, expands. It becomes expansive. It becomes able to encompass a lot more than just what? Right? The material. It becomes beyond materialism, beyond what is seen just with the eye, or heard just with the ear, or felt just with the hand, or smelt just with the nose. It comes beyond that, or felt. Did we say that one? Just beyond the five senses, in other words. It goes beyond that. It becomes something greater than that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they said, Ya Rasulullah, what's the sign for it? He says, to shun the abode of illusion. He said, At-tajafi an daril ghurur. In other words, Azifat nafsi min ad-dunya. I forget which one of the Sahaba, the Prophet of Allah, he asked him, Hudhayfa it might have been. He said, Azifat nafsi min ad-dunya. That I no longer have that I'm disgusted in a sense with the dunya. I'm disgusted with seeking money. I'm disgusted with seeking position. I'm disgusted with being popular or being accepted or I've had enough of that. I've had enough of it. And one attends to the abode of immortality. That's the natural conclusion. When one gets over materialism, what's left? When one gets over the physical, in other words, what flourishes? The metaphysical, the spiritual, the intellectual. And then he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, الزهادة في الدنيا تريح القلب والبدن والرغبة في الدنيا تكثر الهم والحزن. He says that renouncing the world relieves the heart and the body, while desire for the world increases worry and sorrow. Ever seen one of those super rich dudes? Ever met one? Ever seen them somewhere? They can't relax. They can't take it easy. They don't know what the word take it easy means. They can't. There's too much going on, too much in their heads. And it's not just about the money, by the way, because they've got everything they need. They've got everything they want, really. There's nothing more to want out of the door. They've got whatever they want. Planes, they got planes. Boats, they got boats. Women, they got women. Drugs, they got drugs. Alcohol, they got alcohol. People like, pandering to them and whatever, they got that. Power, they've got. Connections, they've got. So their money really isn't, in other words, their pursuit of more wealth isn't just about money. It's about making their mark. Right? It's about go down in the history books. People will remember me for however many years, hopefully not like Fir'aun. People will remember me. So it's not just about the money, it's about themselves. It's about their own pursuit. So they can never be comfortable because it doesn't matter how much money they have. Like the one time they asked one of these super wealthy guys, the guy goes to him, how much money, I'm sure you've heard this one, how much money do you have? And he goes, what, when you ask me the question or now when you want me to answer it? That's how much money. His money's just increasing. So there's not, in other words, they don't even count the money they have. They can't count the money they have because it just keeps on going and going. That's why they estimate the wealth of this person is 10 billion because they don't know exactly what it is. They can't work it out because it's constantly changing. They wrote the article, it's over. Something else has happened. He said, تريح القلب عليه الصلاة والسلام تريح القلب والبدن والبدن both. It'll give peace. Turih is not even turih, it'll relax you. What? Relax two things. Firstly is the heart, the soul. Be relaxed because why? The soul can't be relaxed while it's chasing the eternal or the everlasting. Can't be relaxed while it's chasing the temporary. It doesn't work. It's impossible. We spoke about that last time as well. It's like putting water on your laptop. Phones are waterproof now, so you can't use that example. Pouring water, it doesn't work. They don't go together. Right? And then al-badan, the body. Because when the heart's perturbed, when the mind's perturbed, how can the body be at ease? It can't. It's impossible. And so the body becomes a reflection of the state of one's heart and soul and mind. When people are got depression and anxiety and all these things, they give them things to slow them down, slow their mind down, right? They give them things to slow their body down. When someone's having a psychotic episode, they don't actually treat the brain; they just put them to sleep because the body's out of control. The body's out of control. So we'll come back, inshallah, and we'll pray with sallallahu alaihi wasallam after praying Maghrib. That itmatnan, that contentment, that peace, not in their minds, not in their bodies, not in their souls. And when Allah Azza wa Jal, it's reflected in the mental health issues that we have these days. It's on the rise. It's 1 in 20. It used to be like 1 in 200 people have health issues in Australia. Now it's like 1 in what? 5? 1 in 4 or something. It's just crazy. It's just increasing, crazy. So when Allah Azza wa Jal, when a person's heart isn't at ease, when a person's soul isn't relaxed, of course they're going to be perturbed. Of course that physically and mentally they're going to be perturbed. But the person who renounces the world and is free from that, there's humum, there's concerns of extra, then they'll be relieved from that. And the person, وَالرَّغْبَةُ فِي الدُّنْيَا, the desire, the yearning for the affairs of this world, status is the killer. Most of them revolve around that. We'll get to that a bit later in the chapter. But most of it's about that. I deserve a special position. I shouldn't be treated like that. I should get my meal this way. I should be served in a particular way. Others should respond to me in this way. When Allah Azza wa Jal, it increases hum. It increases worry. It increases concern because we're always worried about, the Lebanese have a killing. Ma'amil li ima, they say. He didn't give me a position, a status. Or she didn't put me on the pedestal that I deserve to be on. What a sick society. That's a sick society. That's society. All they're looking for is status. That's dunya. That's the ultimate dunya. So we'll talk about that in the future, inshallah. It says, وَقَالَ عَلَيْهِ الصَّلَاةُ وَالسَّلَامُ اِزْهَدْ فِي الدُّنْيَا يُحِبُّكَ اللَّهُ وَازْهَدْ فِيمَا عِنْدَ النَّاسِ يُحِبُّكَ النَّاسِ. Right? It says, renounce, what does it say? Renounce the world and God will love you. Of course Allah's going to love you. If you're not in concern with the world, like, as we said, if a person has fiqh al-waqi', the understanding of the reality of this world, they're naturally going to go to Allah. It's a natural state. Without even Allah, without even considering Allah in the equation in that sense, just by seeing the reality of the world, one will automatically flee in soul, in mind, in heart, in body to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because they'll see, what a waste. Look at it, it's so temporal, so temporary. This is nothing. It can't be the reality. It can't be the reason. It can't be the reason that I existed. It can't be the reason. The complexity of a human being, soul and the mind and the body. It just can't be just to live for however many years and turn into dust and it's over. Impossible. Anyone who sees the reality of the world, that's what the conclusion they'll come to, and they'll look to the higher source, being Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then, don't have your eye on what people have. So that means don't talk about what people have. Like someone gets a new this or a new that or whatever it is, and goes, oh, no, nice this. Unless you're trying to do da'wah with someone who's far away from Allah or whatever. Oh, nice watch, nice earring, nice hijab, nice whatever, bracelet, toe ring, and the other stuff that we're up to these days. Right? Nice, whatever it might be, to open the door to give that person da'wah. But other than that, people sitting around talking about what kind of cars they're going to have and what kind of cars they've got and how much it costs and the optional extras, and the dudes talk about that, the brothers and sisters, I don't know, whatever it is they talk about. I don't want to be sexist and say something that's very stereotypical, so I'll just leave it. Whatever it is they talk about, and it's just nothing to do with the reality of the life of this world. Nothing to do with increasing an individual, becoming a better human being, a better person, a better believer, a better servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you want people to like you, don't be concerned about the dunya with the worldly things. And the Prophet ﷺ had the example of that. The man came, he said, Ya Rasulullah, he didn't say Ya Rasulullah, he said, oh, I heard about this Prophet and this, they go, it's me, etc., etc. He goes, I heard that he gives, he doesn't care. He goes, yeah, that's me. He said, all right, well, give me all the sheep that's in the valley. There's a whole, and he gave it to him, alayhi salatu wasalam, became Muslim. Didn't care, alayhi salatu wasalam, didn't have that concern, didn't have that humum. Aisha, Allah marda anha, they used to give her 70,000 dirhams in the morning, and then every time she gave it out, fi sabilillah, sadaqa, 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 and then it came time to make iftar. She was fasting that day, and she said to her helper, she said to her student, basically, what's for iftar? What's for breaking the fast? And she said, well, nothing. She said, oh, we had all those dirhams, if you would have told me to save them, I would have saved them. That wasn't their concern. Did any of you ever hear of a Sahaba dying of hunger? It didn't happen. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sustains. He's given that promise. Allah has given us a promise that He's going to sustain us. Right? So, we better talk about this one. Aslul ma'rifa wa aslul zuhdi al-ma'rifa aslul zuhdi ma'rifatul qalbi bihaqarati dunya wa khissatiha. So that we can take that away to think about. The origin of renunciation is the heart's knowledge of the vileness and insignificance of this world, which is what we've been saying anyway. Can't see, love the world, love everything about this world, and a person can't be disassociated with it, which is probably the right word. Disassociation rather than renunciation in that sense. For us, for the language of today, maybe in 5 years it might be different. Disassociation in that sense, right? In other words, disassociation of the heart. It means we've still got to go to work on Monday, and still got to feed our kids if we've got kids, and still got to mow the lawn if you've got a lawn, and still got to put petrol in your car and put tyres in and whatever else, and all that. Have a shower so you don't stink and whatever else. But it's a disassociation of the heart to the world. Okay? That's the asl of it. That's the foundation of it. If I love cars and cars are in my head and every day I'm on the shop, whatever it's called, the book, there's no books anymore, that was called Drive before, Cars, there's a magazine called Cars. Now it's like on the internet, new car came out, 0 to 100 in 5 seconds, and turbo this and supercharge that, and whatever else. Sorry, mate, it's not going to cut it. It's not going to happen. The love of the dunya is going to be there. Or I love clothes, and every day the latest fashion came out, and whatever, and this type, and stars and stripes and bangles and the glitter, and I know that's not what it is, but for example, right? Whatever the new latest fashion is, which is pretty ugly if you ask me, most of it, whatever it is, right? I'm into it, I'm looking at it, I'm reading it, I'm talking about it, I'm sending messages, liking on my social statuses and whatever else. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Doesn't mean we don't dress well, by the way. Doesn't mean we don't have nice cars. But it's not the pursuit of these things that drive us. It's not the association to these things that gives us peace and harmony and pleasure. And even when you got the first car you had, if a bug landed on it, you'll get upset. Dust. My car's dusty. Then after a while, you come to the person's car, it's got sand in it. They go to the beach, it's got rubbish in it. It's not even worth anything. Or the shoes you get. You've been looking for those shoes, and you're a size 7.5 if you're a female, or 10.5 if you're a male, the most popular sizes, and you can never get them. Then all of a sudden you get those shoes, oof, beautiful, walk around, feel like a princess or a king or whatever, and then 3 months later, 6 months later, where are they? Bin, right?
All come from Allah, and we are not attached to them.
That's the key. You can enjoy without attachment. But if I'm attached to them, that's where the issue is. So if I'm associated with them rather than disassociated with them, that's where the problem is. Allah loves to see His bounty upon His servant. So if you got money, right, buy nice things. But if you don't have money, don't have the yearn to have nice things. And if you've got money, right, and you want to buy something nice and a better opportunity comes up to use your money to get somewhere else closer to Allah, then don't feel bad about the fact that fataka shay' min ad-dunya, that something of the earth, of the dunya, you didn't get to have it. And that's the other sign, which we'll talk about later, but we're on that point. The other sign is that, I was going to buy the car and I put a $500 deposit, and the bloke in front of my deposit saying, I can't give it. I'm upset. Why did you do that? Well, I put the deposit. It's my car, this, that, etc., etc. It's not written for you.
And also not to be envious of others who have worldly goods.
Exactly, which is what the other hadith was. Don't izhad fima 'inda nas. Renounce or disassociate yourself from what people have, because then they'll want to use you. Okay? So he says, وَأَنَّهَا لَوْ كَانَتْ تَزِنُ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ جَنَاحَ بَغُودَةٍ مَا سَقَى كَافِرًا مِنْهَا شُرْبَةَ مَاءٍ وَأَنَّهَا مَلْعُونَةٌ. So he says that had it been worth so much as a gnat's wing to Allah, that He would not have given a disbeliever a sip of its water. And this is one of the hadith. Had this world, in other words, the intrinsic value of this world, not the metaphorical value of doing good deeds in this world and planting seeds of good deeds and harvesting those in the next life. It's not that. It's the actual earth. So what is it? It's made of minerals and whatever else it is. And did it have intrinsic value in and of itself? Allah wouldn't have allowed anyone except believers to exist on the earth. But that's not the case. And what did he say? And ملعونة وأنها ملعونة ملعون ما فيها إلا ما كان لله منها. So he says that it is accursed, and there's another hadith, ملعونة الدنيا ملعونة وملعونة فيها إلا ذكر الله وعالما أو متعلما وما والاه أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. That it's accursed except that which is for Allah in terms of what? Dhikr, knowledge, alim or muta'allim, teacher or student, wama wala, and all the things that are associated with those things that are associated with Allah. Because the dunya is, as we said last time, the mazra'ah. It's the field that one plants for the next life, where they reap the next life, inshallah, the eternal rewards. So we'll finish here, inshallah. وَأَنَّ مَنْ أَخَذَ مِنْهَا أَوْ يَشْعُرُ. And anyone who takes more than is necessary from it is unwittingly taking his or her own destruction. Because that's the definition of dunya. one that takes more than they need, when a'udhu billahi subhanahu wa ta'ala, what happens to the one who takes more than they need? Someone has more houses than they need. Someone has more shoes than they need. What's that called? What's it? Right? Obsession. That's an obsession. Right? Which is an obsession in our istilahiyat, in our words, obsession with what? Right? Dunya. So it can't be that way. It can't be that the person who has excess, then their need is not associated to dunya. They are. The person who has more than they need is associated to dunya and not disassociated with it. Wa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.